I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Welcome back to the Quarter Mile Podcast. We're still doing it. We are still reviewing Fast and Furious adjacent films. We have like 3 or 4 left, and they are getting very niche films. So if you're here with us watching for the Fast and Furious, first of all, what a trooper. We appreciate you being here. You probably didn't know about this movie until you saw our podcast. Our podcast is probably more popular than this movie. And that's not saying we're a popular podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, we're very excited for another episode. We are reviewing a very obscure movie, The Fast and the Furious.
Oh my gosh, what a gift.
What a gift. Ladies and gentlemen, speaking of gifts, we have such a gift guest for you all today for us. Katie Hill's here in the house with us. Katie, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then most importantly, what our fans really want to know is what is your relationship with The Fast and Furious?
Love to know it.
Let's just jump in. I mean, I am a brand new comedian. I started November of last year. I think it was last year was the year I turned 30. And I had this moment of what am I waiting for to try just an open mic?
Right.
And I think there was a lot of other stuff in the world going on in November. I can't remember quite what it would have been. But I think I was like, why? If other people can go and get jobs that they maybe may or may not be qualified for, I think I can apply for just going up and putting my name on a list. And it's still, jury's still out if I'm funny or not. But I'm just trying a little bit at a time, and it's been a really good growing experience.
Yay.
Yeah.
I mean, comedy starts first and foremost if you're having fun. Like, you do it as a creative art, you do it if you're enjoying it. And
you do it because you hate yourself. So it's all these good things.
Yeah, working through some stuff internally. Therapy's too cheap. So, hey, stand-up comedy.
I mean, that was the advice that I first got from Drew. Is he was like, if you remember one thing, comedy isn't fair.
No.
That's great advice. I literally, when I teach classes, that is literally the second thing I tell them. I say, first, have fun. Second, it's not fair, so get over it if you're having problems. Like, the real question we do want to know, Katie, is what is your relationship with the Fast and Furious?
I think that 2011 was the year that Fast 5 came out.
Sounds good, right?
And I remember my youth group having an event where I sort of watched out of the periphery of my eye while playing air hockey in the background.
What a great youth group.
Thank you. That's about it.
That's the only thing that I got from that story, my youth group. Like, that's so sweet.
That sounds exactly like an event I used to run where I would have Fast and Furious.
So that's what they do at youth groups? Like,
I think it was church sanctioned.
Oh. Because I was like,
I don't think that would have been allowed. I think it was a group of people hanging out maybe after youth group.
Yeah, I remember I actually pretty early on into my youth ministry career stopped showing movies because I learned movies are the great way to piss off everybody and nobody at the same time. Because either it's like, oh, that movie wasn't good at all, or it was like that movie had a swear word, or that movie had, or people get really specific, like they were drinking caffeine and caffeine's a drug.
Well,
so
the amount of times we had that, like Back to the Future.
Yeah.
We had someone say, they did say damn.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, damn it, Becky.
Right, come on.
Well, that's a horrible word.
Yeah, we would never at this podcast.
Right.
Any of those swear words.
They'd never have left our mouth.
I don't even say aerosol.
You're gonna say I don't even say air hockey. Anyway, that's fair. That's Fast 5 was a good one. There's other good ones out there. But what we really appreciate about you, Katie, is that you, before coming to this episode, listened to all of our episodes. So you were probably more caught up than I am, honestly.
There we go.
I appreciate that. I did have a little bit of extra time, and in that time, I said, how can I just really dig into the minutia of what this show is?
Not the minutia. I love anybody that does a good word.
Yeah.
That about you, which I know you have a background, I think, partially in journalism.
Yeah, my minor is in journalism.
That's cool.
The prior episode.
Yeah, she's like, I know everything about you because I listen to the Quarter Mile podcast.
I do have a minor in journalism. That's right.
Very cool. Third generation TSU.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
I love it. Yeah. That's from the Point Break episode. You all should check that out and learn more about CJ. That was her debut appearance with us. So, listen, before we get into Fast and Furious, the question is, how is this relevant to Fast and Furious? And after watching the movie, I don't even know. Like I feel like they used Fast and Furious as a plot device to tell about a bad movie, to write a bad movie. But we'll get more into that. But I mean, obviously they're doing a parody of Fast and Furious, which is why we've found this. But it definitely feels like it was a bunch of college students in a film class making movies and then somehow relating it to Fast and Furious. And I have no idea how much money this made or how much it was spent. I don't think. I think they spent maybe $10 on it. And
you're gonna stop playing. Are you serious?
Maybe a little bit more than that, right?
Like, okay, 20, 25. Probably good hundo.
Okay, yeah.
And I don't think they made any money from it. I think this was like a passion project or something. I don't know.
I have some theories.
So here's some of the cast. We have Suzanne Atkins, who played Letty. And she's someone that exists. So she did well, and she did well in that role. I like that they named it Letty after the character in Fast and Furious. We had Linda L. Michaels, who played Caroline, who essentially was just playing Linda Michaels. That was a fun little joke too, and she's been in a lot of stuff. And then it was kind of interesting to me, the guy who played Dom in the movie of the guy playing Dom, which is very meta. His name was Rich Volkanine. Which is a very cool name. That's almost as cool as Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
And he, if he was the part you liked about the movie, he actually has built an entire career of doing a lot of indie spoof movies. So
love that.
I'd never heard of any of these people really, like, or cared that much about them. And then when I looked at his IMDb page, I saw like he had a bunch of movies like this, but hopefully better. And I might one day check them out. Or I might never think about this movie after this podcast. We usually bring you an AI plot summary, or we bring in someone to reenact the movie or dress up as Vin Diesel and tell you the Fast 9 summary. We don't have any of that for you today because AI itself didn't want to touch this movie. It literally gave me a movie review of a different movie. And I was like, wow, that sounds so much better than Fast.
This came out in 2011?
Yeah, 2019. Yeah. So AI is like, I'm not watching it. So we're going to do our best as a team to give you the plot summary of this movie.
I can jump in with the fact that it starts off, you think you're going to start with a spoof of it.
Absolutely.
You're seeing a fairly mid-range, maybe lower mid-range car out over the hills of a desert.
Yeah. And in addition to this, and I think this is why I ended up hating this movie so much, if I'm being honest, the start of the movie had the music that they used sounded similar to See You Again, which was from Fast 7. Of course, you have the Fast and Furious looking as they're driving across. And so like, part of me is like, all right, what do we got going on here? This is cool. And then what happens, Katie?
Well, it's not necessarily, it's him getting a phone call.
Mm-hmm.
And then the phone call, it's Letty tied up somewhere asking for help. Am I remembering this in the correct order?
Yes.
If that's what okay.
But then we cut to a writer's table or writer's room where they're planning out the next Fast and Furious in their universe, Fast and Furious movie.
So they're spoofing on a spoof of a spoof.
Except the spoof itself is not spoofy. It's a genuine attempt at Fast.
Yes. So the real plot of this movie is it's a writer's room that has to meet a deadline, I guess, to maybe make a Fast and Furious movie. It's
24 hours.
So, 24 hours. Right. They have to make a movie. So it starts off like, because they're making a Fast and Furious movie, and what's really happening is the writers are telling you like, this is what's happening in the movie, and that's what you see when you're seeing it. But then it always goes back to the writer room, and they have commentary on what they just saw. And then their big idea is, why don't we have a movie that has movies within the movies that have nothing to do
with the movie?
Yes. And so then we get into a bunch of different plots. The first one. The first one being what was the name of it? I wrote
the robot
robot and prostitute in one word.
Yes,
robostitute.
I think that's it. Robostitute.
Which should have just been sex doll.
Wait, that's a sex doll.
Yeah,
but I guess it's less. She moves on her own.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Don't most sex dolls move on their own?
No, this one literally becomes sentient.
She appears to
yeah.
say props to the actress who was playing her. Did a very good android.
That is a good point. That I did not appreciate. I've been like, that was a nightmare of a short film. Like, I've been thinking about Robostitute
Yeah.
for a while now, and
That's
I'm
the
like,
name.
Word.
yeah, and
Robostitute.
yeah,
Just
so
have to say it. Just say it out. Just
Yeah.
Robostitute.
Can't be scared of it.
so yeah, and so then so that was why I am scared of it, because now I'm scared of a robot prostitute that becomes sentient and
They will
nothing but
because it's
Yeah.
Fast and
And,
Serious.
yeah.
And he says like the wrong thing to the robot. He says something along the lines of like well, she's like, "What do you want me to do to you?" And he says, "Oh no, and I can't remember what he says.
But she took it as like butt stuff, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah,
Nice.
so that was a fun, warm intro into the movie. And then it goes back to the writer's room.
Well, I have to say, it rolls credits on that. And I think this is important because when we're defining this for y'all, it rolls credits on that. And it's a completely different set of people than who the people are for the actual thing. And
Yeah.
it's like a genuine credits. I'm like, huh, okay, continue.
It really feels like we were watching a film festival.
Oh, see, now I'm
It
mad.
might be.
Yes.
I that's my theory, actually. It's not exciting or anything. I think this is this guy's way to get smaller projects into a bigger film festival, but
Maybe. It was a film festival movie, though.
Who was the director?
Moss.
Well, there we go. Thank you. Mark Moss. Do you know him? Have you heard of him? I had never heard of him.
He's done all the other ones that the guy who plays the main guy in this. He's done all the other movies that this guy's involved with. And he has like 50 something credits to his name because multiple times a year he does this where he like makes a short film or like a film and then all these submissions in the film.
What do you think, CJ? Should we make that an option for the genres that people?
I think so. Yeah,
I don't. So
I do. Let's see, Mark.
It's like if Twilight Zone always had a different theme.
But you know, he did. There were, and looking at the movie options, there were some pretty good, like play off of the Avengers, play off of some other stuff. Like there was some.
Yeah. I mean, like the idea of it was good. I think that I do wonder, is this part of a film festival like the one that they have in Nashville, where you do have to write something within 72 hours, direct it,
maybe
film it, and do it?
Yeah,
because I was like, that would be a way, but if not, no excuse.
Yeah, I think this was part of a film festival, but I don't know if it was specifically there were these. You have this set amount of time to do it. But so after we had the Robostitute, thanks, that correctly.
Yeah.
So then they interact a little bit. I think they might have like a pseudo Fast and Serious scene again. Also, 6 is the number of times that they said Fast and Serious.
Yeah,
Running joke. In case after the second one, I was like, this is going to be an obnoxious thing, and so I started clocking him. 6 is how many times they said Fast and Serious. So then after that, they had with the narrator one, which was just about a guy who.
I liked that one.
I did. I liked that one too.
Very well filmed, well acted.
Yeah. The premise of that was a man who is in therapy. His therapist assigned him a narrator to narrate all of his thoughts, and then everyone thought it was really cool at the office, and so everyone got a narrator, and then mass chaos ensued as you started hearing everyone's thoughts about you, and that's it.
Yeah, it starts off as like it's an emotional support person, and then HR assigns one to everyone, and he's mad because he's no longer special.
Yeah,
and that to me, I was like, oh, if they all are like this, maybe I was like, maybe the Robostitute one was just sort of a fluke. They're all going to be like this one, and I was sorely disappointed.
yeah, because then we had the.
Oh, he's done a lot.
Yeah. Oh, you're finding the Mark Moss stuff, huh?
Oh,
Do you recognize any of the movies?
They're all spoofs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's funny.
Category spoof. I realized this after this movie and after Superfast. I'm not a spoof fan.
I can like it if it's just a bunch of Easter eggs for like the true fans. Like if it's almost this Rocky Horror Picture Show version of like, hey, do you know all these inside jokes? Heads up. Like anyone y'all have ever heard of it's the Harry Potter musical.
Oh, well, I've heard of Harry Potter.
Okay, exactly. There's a Harry Potter musical that was like this big production years ago. Darren Criss played Harry Potter back before he was on Glee. I know
who is he on Glee? I actually have watched all of Glee.
Okay, he was Kurt's boyfriend who came from the school with all the
yeah. I feel like he was in something way cooler than Glee that I think of.
Most likely.
So I know the actor though. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And so you can, I think it's still free to watch on YouTube. It was like part of the Star Kids group that's up in Chicago, I think. Shout out to Star Kids.
Absolutely, yeah.
A Harry Potter musical is what it's called. And they did sequels and all these things. That kind of spoof where it's
that's funny.
so good.
Yeah.
So good. But
Barbarians, so like Barbie, that's good. That's fun.
if they know the source
material. You're going to do a deep dive on Mark Moss's movies now. You're going to. Yeah. So after he did the narrator, and then there was some plot ensued, and then he went into the next one was it the bathroom humor one was next?
I believe it was, because that one felt like it would work better as a meme.
Yeah. How'd you feel about that one?
Taylor Swift. This isn't Swift.
Oh, the names of these different things.
Oh, you're looking at the movies?
Yeah, that's not how you spell Swift.
Yeah. I think that's the point.
That might be the joke. Their one for tenant is just tenant, like someone who's leasing. Yeah.
That's great.
I appreciate the title.
So maybe this one was just not one of the best representations of this guy's work. Maybe I kind of want to go see some other stuff because the idea of it sounds fun.
Yeah, and I think maybe it was to me, I feel like with the right crowd, this would hit.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just being female. That I watched it and was like, I've heard these urinal jokes before.
Yeah. I didn't mind it. It was okay. It was I would say I felt it was better than some of the other shorts. So after
some strengths.
So then they had the one where they were eating, or it was a woman who'd just gotten broken up and she was getting
genuinely my favorite one.
That was your favorite one?
Were these all like? I mean, because I just want to make
these were all shorts in the movies.
Yeah.
And the premise was they're writing this Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah.
And they're like, give us an idea. And like, what if we go into a different movie? And then then when they say that, they go into a different movie.
Yeah. They keep stalling for time too, because you keep cutting back. And they had some ideas of like, okay, here's what's going to happen next in the Fast and Furious movie. Letty's going to show up, and then there's going to be a double of Letty, and so-and-so is going to sneak up behind and hit her on the head. And there were some genuinely funny moments in that. But then it was, well, what happens next? I don't know. Well, let's show another movie.
Yeah.
So it was like, all right, here we go.
And then the ending of the movie was they finally did exactly what the movie was. It was their attempt at being meta, honestly, but it was like, what if our whole movie was us showing this process in other movies instead of the Fast and Furious movie? And then, of course, the lead person was like, I think of Linda Michaels. You're like, that's genius. That's the movie we're going to do. And that's how the movie ended.
Well, and then it cuts to Letty. I think, was it Dawn and Letty sitting and them typing this up?
Right.
Like, finale. It was like a movie inside a movie inside a movie. Okay. Yeah. Great.
It's one of those where like, I can't tell if they're intentionally being like this is dumb and we know it, or if someone on the other end is like, this is freaking brilliant.
I almost went full circle with that during my watching. Yeah, I did get to that point mentally. I think I had to, like, it was like a self-protection thing where you start being like, it has to be good, or else Drew has made me take an hour out of my day.
Guys, did I text both of you an apology for this movie?
Yeah, no, I think you posted on Facebook.
That's right. I did. I made a very public apology as if I was a president who just did a scandal.
I mean, even better.
I was.
You took ownership. Unforetold.
Yeah, I just so if you're watching or listening to this podcast and you hate, I don't know why you religiously follow us. They're like, well, if they're watching the movie, so will I. I just want you to know I led you astray on this one. In my defense. Sin exists in this world and we're not perfect.
I'm only human.
I think the weirdest short for me was the body language one, the last one that they did. I either did not understand it one bit or was uncomfortable and couldn't explain to myself why I was uncomfortable.
It was real Wes Anderson. Are you finding?
No, I'm just laughing like that. That's good. That's a good reference.
It was very particular outfit settings, colors, and the whole thing was, look at this Scandinavian body language. And I thought, man, there would have been some guy in a film 101 class in college defending this to death. He would have been like, this is high art. And
and everyone's like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. However, the dancer in it, I think she gets some credit. Right. Yeah, so she was, it was all about like the the weird dancing was like part of showing body language. I actually don't understand what I'm explaining right now.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna go back and watch.
Yeah, there was something.
I do have to go back and defend the drive-through one though.
Okay, let's do that.
Out loud multiple times during that. Like it was when the person says like, how can I help you? And they show how she's here as like a, how can I help you? And then she just goes on this rampage of like, I'm going through this right now. And all the while I can imagine the person on the other side just like,
absolutely.
Maybe it's because I've been that person.
Yep.
I was like, this is too real.
And then the ending when it shows her at a different drive-thru.
Oh yes, the fact that it's like, wait a second, she just does this.
She just does this, yeah.
It's for Friday night.
I feel like, how many drugs do you think those people took before writing those movies? That doesn't.
Not enough. Not enough. There's a lot of untreated stuff going on.
Right.
There should be some medications they should look into.
Yeah. So that was so that's basically Fast and Serious. In case you hadn't seen it, I feel like we wrapped it up pretty well.
We were generous with it.
Yeah,
you were. Y'all were like
So here's some feedback from fans on Reddit, Fast and Furious fans, and then I did find one bad movie review which I felt like captured my experience, so I wanted to share it. So this is just some of people's opinions. This first one's from Late Ad 4624. I'm sure that's her real name. I watched until they started the Robostitude. Wait. That's it. Fair. And then turned it off. Either it wasn't funny enough or they started another bit and didn't tell anyone. But I got bored and came back here. So I literally felt bad because someone in the Reddit's comment section was like, oh, I've never heard of it. And because it exists and I make bad decisions, I was like, oh, here's a link to it.
Is it a little bit like The Ring?
And then they watched it and they were like, what? Anyway, this next review is from Embarrassed Highway 76. I felt like an embarrassed highway after watching this movie.
Yeah.
This is what the real Embarrassed Highway I-76 had to say about it. It's pretty terrible, but I'm not going to lie. I did laugh at a handful of scenes. This was another one of those shitty movies made for cheap, off the heels of scary movie popularity with none of the charm or wit or Wayne that the Waynes brought. I feel like there's a lot of typos in this, so I did my best with what I said. Yeah. But basically, yeah, you're right. This was someone who's trying to do the same kind of spoof movie, and it's it's not nearly as good.
No.
And then I put in this feedback to do cheap promo for another episode, but Fever Desu says Superfast is the only Fast and Furious parody worth watching.
Ooh, high praise.
I did not like Superfast. However, CJ did. She gave it a Too Fast.
Wow.
I did. It was funny to me.
Okay.
It was but we did review that movie a few episodes ago. So if you're watching this and you're like, I wish I watched Superfast, go watch Superfast and then go watch our episode and leave thousands of nice comments.
I did.
People are just like coming out in droves in defense of this movie. Like, you just don't understand, man.
Maybe I don't, but sometimes I'm like, or maybe this is a dumb movie.
Yeah.
But this was the bad movie review that really, I feel like I read this and I was like, I've never felt more seen. Thank you, random person.
Yeah.
The whole thing is a waste of time to watch. It's more like a bunch of film school students combined all their classroom project videos as a prank, and they tried to get it officially released. And it must have been April 1st when someone okayed it to be officially released.
Brutal. Right. I think, and here's the thing. I have a working theory that this is somebody who is helping. It's either helping or using. I have no idea. I don't know if Mark Moss is the villain or the hero in this story. He could be both. But he is certainly either using these people to get his name on credits, to get them on things, to be like, look at how many things I've directed. In reality, it's other people's projects that he spliced together. Or he's a hero that is helping these indie film like makers and artists and people involved with these to get recognized that they wouldn't by saying, hey, I'll be the vessel by which if you win my little indie film thing, I'll put them in here and send them off to a bigger film festival. And that's how you can get recognized through it. So I don't know. I did message him on Facebook. He has not replied.
Well, good for you. Let us know. Write us in. Let us know.
I will.
Well, that would absolutely be a thing where
Facebook's very open.
So in an earlier episode, we had someone who made a comment about their bad first date or whatever, and then we involved Tokyo Drift, and so we said, let us know, and then she did. So if you hear back from Mark, we'd love to insert that in one of our later episodes.
That ponytail man story scarred me. Yeah. You gotta listen back for this episode.
I am.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that. You're right. Good for you for listening to our episode. The ponytail Tokyo Drift date story. Yeah. I forgot about that. But yeah. Well, where do we go from there?
How do you well, the same way that the movie does. Abruptly, with no warning and no need for transition. We're family. Go.
Love it. Perfect. Well, I'm excited to see if I feel like we've covered most of the things. Here were the comments I wrote. The acting was the worst between scenes. I didn't mind the shorts, but once it got back into where it was but I can't tell if they were intentionally being bad because they're like, well, let's act like we're just living normal lives and not acting. But I was like, why don't you act like normal people?
I did wonder, and you never know how much of it's just bad writing or bad this. People get mad at Robert Pattinson, and in the Twilight movies, he acted those perfectly. Those are that angsty. The movie. You gotta watch it, right?
I have seen all the Twilight movies.
Oh, okay.
I have seen them all.
Are you due for a rewatch?
I'm not due for a rewatch.
Okay. I'm sorry, Bailey. I tried.
So that was a consideration. It did not make it past the writer's room, much like many of these.
I mean, if this one did.
Right.
But sometimes it's bad writing, sometimes it's bad lighting. But I think it was also just maybe people bad acting, but maybe they had a timeline. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they really did only have 24 hours and they had to work with it. But I guess my biggest question after watching this movie, and you all, maybe you can let me know, or maybe it's just left to the great unknown. What was this movie trying to do? Because when I went into it, I was expecting it to be a spoof off Fast and Furious. And I can say one thing for sure, it did not care about Fast and Furious.
It really didn't.
And that hurt my soul.
Yeah. They didn't even have good pictures of cars. I got it, you didn't have the money to shell out for a good car in the first scene. At one point, he's looking up on the window, we're looking up at the wall, and there's a picture of a car. They didn't even frame it well.
Right, yeah.
Come on, just one thing.
Again, I think that was part of what they were doing, but my big question is, what were they doing?
But why?
Maybe they just wanted to show in a comedic way. In a comedic way.
I appreciate the preface.
There we go. Maybe they just wanted to show how funny that they could be as writers.
Okay.
But they didn't have the actors to push the scene.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe it was an honest mistake.
Whoops. 52 minutes later.
Okay, that is so nice.
Isn't that nice?
Oh, I think
it's so nice. It was overly nice. I think you were giving them more benefits of the doubt.
Because I'm looking
You're giving them a 401k of the doubt. You're giving them the benefits, the dental full insurance package of the doubt. Yeah. That is all
mom telling people
I would definitely say that, yeah.
Smart her daughter is.
Yeah.
That's the level of doubt.
That was great.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Do you have any theories, Katie, on what were they trying to do with this movie?
Sneak it into a bigger film festival is my theory. Also, I will defend make bad art. And here's the thing, because we can't say that we've never gotten up and made some bad art. Probably me a little bit more at this point, just recently, but the longer somebody has a career in anything artistic, the more they're going to be I've taken chances, I've taken big swings, I've missed. And honestly, I'm all for it. I think sometimes, especially in a world where everything is so held to the standard of it has to be 100% or else it's going to be torn down immediately.
Yeah.
There is something noble, honorable even, about somebody who says, I'm going to make my art, gosh darn it.
Yeah.
I am going to come out with movie after movie after movie of other people's art, whatever level it may be, that it also has my art in it. And it's collaborative, it's team building, it is bad art And I admire that because I make bad art all the time.
Okay. You know what? Here's the thing. I really appreciate that rationale.
Thank you.
And I can take it personally with, especially when this podcast was first starting and we'd be posting reels and on TikTok, all the nicest human beings on earth would be like, this is what everyone says when they want to make fun of podcasts on like reels and stuff. They'll be like, they'll put in quotes, let's make a podcast, or like make podcast equipment more expensive. And like, they were really bashing like the quality of our podcast and the content. And like, this was like a first project for us. Like we had never done it before. So like, and even now, like I would never recommend anyone go listen to the first episode of this podcast or the second one. Those were very learning moments in comparison to the other ones. But it's like you said, you got to start somewhere. You got to enjoy it. I'm just going to start telling everyone that our podcast starts in season 2 because that was when I had more of a structure of like how to do a podcast.
But then they won't appreciate it. They won't get to see the growth. They won't get to see the change.
Yeah.
They won't be like, why is Bailey black now? Like,
right. So, that was, by the way, that was one of the ideas a comic friend of mine had was going into season 2. He was like, you know CJ, but for the entire show, you should call her Bailey and make everyone think, is this Bailey? And then they go back and they look at the first season, and that gets me more views on the first season episodes because everyone's like, I'm pretty certain those are different people, but like they have to confirm it because we're committing to the bit.
Appreciate the commitment.
But then I was like, maybe I should value a person as a person.
Maybe CJ's not just a prop, right, CJ?
I'm not a prop.
Exactly.
Not a prop.
Yeah.
Well, okay. We're at the time in this podcast where we the rubber meets the road and we finally give our individual movie ratings of this movie. I don't mind going first and starting at the dumps. Too Furious. My life is less than because of this movie. I finished it a little bit more frustrated than when I started, and I will probably never watch it again.
That's what you gave it, a Too Furious?
Too Furious.
Because I didn't see the entire thing of it, I'm going to be fair and not give a rating yet.
Okay.
So I want to come back and give it. I'm going to guesstimate my rating will be Fast because I'm goofy. And I love goofy stuff. And this seems either it's going to annoy the heck out of me or it's going to make me be like, you know what? All right. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay with it.
That's fair. That's fair.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
As a movie, Furious.
Okay.
As a movie, Furious. As a vessel for other people's art, Fast.
Okay.
Okay, that was nice.
And if it's just the standalone one of the girl at the drive-thru,
right?
Too Fast.
Too Fast, absolutely.
Too Fast. I'd watch that again right now.
Yeah.
We have time.
That's fair. That's fair. We can throw it in right now.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's fair. But that is what I do like about movies, and the point of this podcast is we can all watch the same thing and have different opinions. We can, and we're not wrong. In a world where there's, in certain circumstances, an absolute right and absolute wrong. It is really relieving to me to be able to go into any art and have my opinions and then have someone else's opinions be completely different. We are at Drew's Best Bits. This one was tough. This one, the best bit almost was me throwing myself out the window. But then I was like, no, the podcast has to go on. So I did my best. And the topic for our bits tonight are the shorts that I hated the least.
Okay.
So this is the least disgusting of the movies to me. All right, so here are the 3 best of the shorts. I'm having such a hard time saying that with sincerity.
I miss while you say it. Say it like you mean it.
Here are the best 3 shorts of this movie.
You used to tell teenagers, and we're all going to get along this weekend, and no one's going to get in any trouble. I know you can lie.
That's true. That's true. Okay, so 3 best of the shorts. Number 1 was the narrator.
Right.
Number 2 was the bathroom humor. And number 3 was, and it's actually the one you mentioned. I wrote down Chino short because I think that was but it was I'm going to call it the fast food short. The other ones had more defined titles.
Okay.
So
let's let the guest guess first.
The narrator.
The narrator? Okay.
The narrator.
I'm going with the second one.
The second one, the bathroom humor.
Bathroom humor.
All right. Well, that one was actually least hated one, which makes it my best. So you get a point for you. But then also I get a point for Katie being incorrect.
Sorry.
So just like last week's episode, we're still
Sub-zero.
I feel like we're 9-6.
We're 9-6.
9-6. Okay, yeah. It's doing these 2 episodes times really hard.
That's okay. That's all right. We gonna get it.
We got a couple more episodes left. We really do. Honestly, we have.
Yeah, next week. The next episode. What we got?
We're doing Fast and Fierce.
The Death Race. Yes, that's what I'm excited about because that got my boy DMX.
He's gonna give it to you, right?
I hope he. Well, not anymore. May he rest in peace. But
R.I.P. DMX.
Yeah.
R.I.P. DMX.
We'll honor him by watching.
We should. We can't because that's like we can't play all his music. But
I mean, we could do a cover of it.
It's gonna have to happen because it's DMX.
We need something with DMX.
Drew, what are your singing abilities?
Lack of none. My singing abilities would go great in the Fast and the Furious. It would fit right in with their universe.
I love DMX. Everything about him. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to go hard and go in on Fast and Furious Death Race. Thank you, Katie.
Thank you
for coming. Are you going to come back? Will you come back?
I would love to.
Yeah, because you would
give her a better movie than this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when the next season comes out and when they give us like whatever genre we pick, like whatever movie, like that's what me and you go.
Okay, let's do it.
Me and you go review. Make sure you like let them know where you are at your socials and all of that. Like Cash App, all of that fun stuff. Like, just let them know. Drop it right now.
At Katie Hill Comedy on Instagram. I don't really have many other socials where I'm active with comedy stuff just because I'm still pretty new to it. And so you're just going to see a bunch of clips, reels on Instagram of me bombing at various open mics. And that's me honing my craft.
Well, yeah. Go ahead and follow her. I'm serious. Like, watch her from the beginning and watch her improve.
Yeah.
And you can be like, I've been keeping up with her since day one.
Yeah. You'll say you got in on the ground floor. I love how I defended it so hard for you of like, no, watch season 1. And now I'm like, don't follow me.
Yeah, it's different. It's different when it's your own thing. But you're not wrong, though. That was very good advice.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it was. I really appreciate you coming in and taking the lead on this one because, like I said, it wasn't fair that I could like. Well, let me put my 2 cents in. That's stupid.
You're good.
But
I just have an obsessive personality.
No, I love that. I love anybody that is OCD about any of that stuff. That's why me and you're really good friends.
True.
That's why we're really good friends.
I've leaned into my OCD.
You gotta.
And I love that about you. But yeah, no, make sure you guys check us out at all of our socials, Quarter Mile Podcast. We are on YouTube. We're on Instagram.
If you name it, we're there. Well, probably. Okay, we're on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook,
TikTok.
We do have a Twitter, but I never update it.
Yeah.
Reddit.
Yeah, we're on Reddit.
We're on Reddit. Yeah, make sure you like, subscribe, and as my kids would say, like and subscribe.
Oh my gosh,
that's how they would say it.
Great impression.
That's how they would say it.
Yeah.
And if you want us to like sponsor you, like just like DM us, do any of that fun stuff. DM Drew, DM me. You can DM Gizmo. He probably won't answer, but just just let us know. And always remember to live your life a quarter mile at a time. And we're gonna see you next time. All right.
See ya.
We out.